Okay, so now we have data sufficiency questions. In data sufficiency question, what we are supposed to do, there will be a question and there will be 2 or 3 statements provided. Then we'll have to answer as per the options given. So if the question can be answered as the option A suggests, if the question can be answered, if the data in statement 1 alone is sufficient to answer the question, while the data in the statement number second alone is not sufficient to answer the question. Okay, what is the condition? So when we are supposed to answer a question, so in the statement one only, the sufficient information is provided so that the question can be answered, and at the same time, state in the statement number second, there is no sufficient information to answer the question. Then we hit the option called as A. Likewise, if the information in the statement number second is just sufficient to answer the question, but there in the statement number one, it is not sufficient to answer, then we hit the option called as B. Likewise, option C is option C is selected when either of the statement are sufficient to answer the question. That the statement number one has got sufficient information so that the question can be answered, and at the same time, statement number two also has got sufficient information so that the question can be answered as well. So if this is the case, then we hit the option called as C. Similarly, option D is selected when the data given in both the statement first and second together are not necessary to answer the question altogether. So that the some part of the information to be taken from statement number one, some part of the information to be taken from statement number two, and combining those two information. After combining, only if we can answer the question, then only we hit the option called as D. Okay, and the option E is also available, which says if data in the statement number one and also the statement number second also is not sufficient, even if you combine them, then also they are not sufficient to answer the question, then in this situation we hit the option called as E. So these are the meaning of A, B, C, D and E options. Let us see what is the first question. First question is, which direction was Shashidhar facing? Okay, that is the question. Which direction was Shashidhar facing? So let us check the statements one by one. The first statement is, in the early morning, Shashidhar was standing with a puppet and the shadow of the puppet was falling to the right of Shashidhar. So let us understand that he's saying it is in the early morning. So what happens in early morning? There are obviously 4 directions: north, south, east, and west. So we have to see those directions first: north, south, east, west. So this is where east lies, this is where west lies, north and south. These are the 4 directions. Now he says if it is a early morning sin, so if it is a early morning sin, obviously the sun will be in the east. Okay, sun will lie in the east direction, and shadow of any object will fall obviously on the west side. Okay, sun will lie on the east side and shadow will obviously lie on the west side, that is opposite of the east side. So shadow will be on the opposite side, that is west. Now they are saying, but the shadow of the puppet was falling to the right of Shashidhar. So wheresoever Shashi stands, the shadow should fall to the right of him. So now there can be 2 cases that Shashidhar, if standing here, can face northward or can face southward. So if he faces northward, then somebody facing northward, then shadow will be falling to his left. If we can see this, understand, then if he is facing the north direction, then to his left will be this. To his left will be obviously the shadow. But that's what they are not asking. They're asking the shadow should fall to the right. So if he faces the south direction, then somebody facing south, the right will fall towards this way. This will be the right side of the person who is facing the south direction. So there where the shadow is already lying, so obviously whosoever is the person is obviously facing the south direction. Then only to the right of south there falls a shadow on the west side. So statement number one has got sufficient information to answer the question. So now we have to check the statement number second for the same thing. Statement number second says, in the early morning, Shashidhar was standing on the ground. His shadow was falling behind him when he turned to his left. Okay, so wheresoever he was facing initially, when he turned to his left, the shadow fall to his behind. Then we are supposed to answer. Then which direction was Shashidhar facing? So if you have a closer look at this is again a early morning scene. So scene. So sun is again in the east direction. Shadow is obviously in the west direction. So these two things are already locked up. Then he's saying, then when he turns to his left, then the shadow was falling behind him. So shadow is not moving anywhere. Shadow is right there on the west side. So he is facing towards east side. Then only the shadow should fall to his behind. Okay, so clearly the answer from the question statement number second is coming is that he is facing east. So, but this is not important that the answer is should be coming same from both the statement. That is not the concern. The concern is that that question should be answered anyhow. But this is happening. That question is being answered from statement number one also. Answer is coming as south, and from statement number second also the question is being completely able to be get answered, and the answer is coming as west. So answer is coming in for both the statements. So clearly both the statements are in individually alone sufficient to answer the question. That's why we'll hit the option called as C, which is number 3. So that is the right answer. Option C is the right answer. That statement from both the information are sufficient to answer the question. Now the same thing we have to target again. The options are same. Okay, let us see the question, how the question can be answered. The question number second says, who among A, B, C, D and E teaches history? Who among A, B, C, D and E teaches history? This is what is the question. Okay, so if you see the question, A, B, C, D teaches history. So the statement number first we have to see, and we have to verify whether the information provided in statement number first is sufficient to answer the question or not. So if we see the statement number one, he says each one of them teaches only one subject. That is the first information. B teaches mathematics. E teaches science. A or C does not teach geography. A or D does not teach English. So let us make a table out of it. By the statement number one, if you want to verify, they are saying each one teaches one subject only. B is teaching maths. Okay. E is teaching science. That is clear. And A or C. So B, E is there. A would be there. D would be there, and C would be there. These five people will be there. The subject of B and E is already decided. Now we have to see. They are saying A or C does not teach geography. So geography cannot be right against A or C. Cannot be written here. So geography has to be going only with D. That is the only option available for geography to go. So geography is with D, and A or D does not teach English. So that means English is not taught by A also and D also. So obviously there is only last option left for English to go to C. So English is being taught by the person in called as C, and obviously the last subject would have been taught by A, that is nothing but history. So clearly we are able to answer that who teaches history from the statement number one alone. So we can keep this in a consideration. Let us check for the statement a second also whether it can answer the question or not. These in the second is they are saying C and E teaches English. So let us write down A, B, C, D, and E. C and E. C and E are teachers of English and science respectively. So C is the teacher of English, E is the teacher of science. Okay, and A is the teacher of mathematics. So A becomes the teacher of mathematics. Now we have got two individuals, B and D, against which there is no subject mentioned. They are asking the who teaches history. So clearly if the subject is not mentioned against B and D, then we cannot answer who is teaching history. So clearly data in statement number second is not sufficient to answer the question. Only data in statement number one alone is sufficient to answer the question. So clearly option A is the right answer, that is 1. Question number 3, same options are given. We are supposed to answer the question in the things as it is provided. The question is, in a row of boys facing south, who is at immediate left of Ramakant? Okay, so let us check. In a row of boys facing south, there are people who are facing south. So let's make this row, and we are checking for statement number 1. People are facing south, so this is, let's take this as south direction only. We are checking statement number 1 only. He's saying Suresh is at immediate right to Chandrakant, who is 4 to the right of Ramakant. So clearly we'll have to place Ramakant first. In his reference only we can answer the question. He's saying who is 4 to the right of Ramakant? This is about Chandrakant. Chandrakant is 4 to the right of Ramakant. So this will be first right of Ramakant, second right of Ramakant, third right of Ramakant, and 4 to the right of Ramakant will be Chandrakant. So there where the Chandrakant lies, and Suresh is immediate right to Chandrakant. So Chandrakant's right is immediate right is Suresh. So there where the Suresh lies. Okay. Now these are the people over there. What is the question asked? Who is at the left of Ramakant? So there is no information provided towards the left side of Ramakant. No information provided. So clearly statement number 1 alone is not at least sufficient to answer the question. Now let's check for statement number second. Statement number second is Suresh is third to the right of Ramakant. Let's make different thing. Suresh is third to the right of Ramakant. Let's say Ramakant is here. Okay, Suresh is third to the right of Ramakant. First, second, and third. So here is the Suresh. Okay. Now they are saying, and Naresh is second to the right of Suresh. Naresh second to the right of Suresh. First right of Suresh and second right of Suresh is Naresh. Now this is the situation. Now can the question can be answered? In the question they are asking who is immediate left of Ramakant. So clearly the left side of Ramakant is still not explored in any of the statement given. Even if we combine the statement also, then only we cannot answer because there is no information provided to the left side of Ramakant. So even both the statements are also not sufficient to answer the question. So in this option, in this case we hit the option called as E. Okay, so E is available as option 5. So that is the right answer, option 5. Now, the same way of answering the question, let us see the question. Who has secured the maximum marks among six friends A, B, C, D, E, and F? Okay, who has scored the maximum? Let us explore the statement number 1. Statement number says B secured less marks than A and F. So A and F can be in any order, whether this in this order or they can be in this order. But this is clear that B has secured less marks. So B is somewhere down towards the. So if we are ranking downward, then B is somewhere down than A and F together, but not less than C, D, and E. This is about B. B is not less than C, D, and E. Then obviously C, D, and E all lies beneath B. C, D, and E all lies underneath B, below B. So what they were asking who has secured maximum marks. So it is not clear. It can be anybody out of A or F. So the statement number 1 is not sufficient alone at least to answer the question. Let's see statement number 2. Statement number 2 says F secured more marks than B. F has secured more marks than B. Okay, so F is above B, but not as much as A. But he is not able to score as much as A. So that means A has scored more marks than F. So clearly, statement number second is not sufficient alone, not sufficient to answer because in the statement number second alone, there is no connection of CD is given. But if we combine both the statement first and second, yes, there can be a chart created. So only confusion in the first one was that who is at the highest rank, either A or F, which has been cleared in the statement number second when he said A is on the higher side of F. So obviously the highest marks has been scored by A, and this we could get only while we combined both the statements together. So obviously the answer is option D. When we say the statement together, both the statement together can only answer the question, which is available in option 4. Now, the same way of answering the question, data sufficiency. The question is, what will be the position of R hand of a clock at 7:30 p.m. Okay, R hand of the clock at 7:30 p.m. Let's see the statement. Okay, there are English alphabets on the dial of the clock instead of digits. So on as the dial of the clock, this is 6, this is 7, and so on. This is 12, this is 3, this is 6. This is how the dial of a clock looks like. This is rather 9. Okay, there are English alphabets on the dial of the clock instead of digits. So digits are not mentioned, but the English alphabets are mentioned. But they are not telling that infant English alphabets are whether starting from A or starting from Z. What is the order which all English alphabets has been used? So clearly statement number 1 is not sufficient to answer the question because the alphabets are not given. Okay, so 1 is not alone sufficient to answer. Let us check for statement number 2. The R hand is at P at 7 o'clock. So at 7 o'clock, R hand remains here, minute hand remains here. So at 7, R hand is at P at 7 o'clock. So clearly the name of 7 is P. But what will be the position of R hand of clock at 7:30 p.m.? This cannot be answered because at 7:30 it will be somewhere between 7 and 8. But the name of 8 is not given. What is the name of 8 in terms of English alphabet or what? So that's why statement number second alone is also not sufficient to answer. Even if we combine both the information, then also we cannot answer the question because the problem is P has been assigned to 7, but what all English alphabets have been assigned to which all number, that is not mentioned. So clearly both the statement combined together even cannot answer the question. So option E, that is 5, is the right answer. Now we have to see the questions and we have to see the statements. What are the statement given? Each of these question consists now same. Now there is will be a different way of answering the question. Now what is the first one? If see option 1 and option 2 are same, if data in statement 1 alone is sufficient to answer but statement second is not sufficient to answer, then we hit called option called as 1. If data in statement second alone sufficient but statement 1 alone is not sufficient, then we hit option 2. If data in either in the statement 1 or in statement 2 alone are sufficient, so that is also the same option. Data is sufficient in any of them, both of them rather, four option is data given in both the statement first and now the fourth and the fifth option have been swapped. So fourth option says if by combining also the information of both of the statements, if somebody cannot answer the question, then we'll hit the option called as 4. And option 5 will be if data is sufficient in both the options alone. Okay. Statement number 1 and second together. If we need to combine statement number first and second together only, then only we can answer the question. Then it will be option 5. So there is a swap between 4 and 5 in this for these questions. Let us see the question. What is saying? How is G related to M? So this is the question. M's sister is the mother of K. Let's make it M's sister. Here the gender of M is not clear. M's sister. So let's say the M sister is the mother of K. So M, whosoever is M sister, that is not mentioned, is the mother of K. So she has to be a female and she has to be the mother of K. Now we are supposed to answer how is G related to M. So clearly there is no mention of G in the statement number 1. So statement number 1 alone is not sufficient to answer the question. If we see the second statement alone, what does it say? G has only one brother and one sister. G has only one brother and one sister. But if we see alone as statement number second, it cannot give us the connection between G and M. But if we combine them, are we able to answer them? If we combine them, they saying G has got one sister and one brother, but the gender of M was not clear. When they said M is the sister, M's sister is mother of K, gender of M was not clear. So we cannot also tell that M is any sister or brother of G or not. We cannot establish that also from this. So clearly, data in both the statement even is not sufficient to answer the question. So in this situation, we'll hit the option called as 4 because 4 says data given in both the statement are not sufficient. So option D becomes the right answer. Now, uh, let us see the question and which statement are sufficient enough to answer the question. We'll verify that. He's asking on which day of the week was Arun born? That is the question. Let us see the first statement alone. Arun celebrated his birthday 3 days after he returned from London. So, whensoever he returned from London, 3 days after that he celebrated his birthday. But this statement is not sufficient to answer the question alone because it is not mentioned when did he return from London. So, statement 1 alone not sufficient. Let us see statement number 2 alone. Arun's brother was born on the next day of the week of Arun's birthday. Okay. So Arun's brother was born on the next day of the week of Arun's birthday, but they want to know on which day was Arun born. So for that, if Arun's brother was born on which day, then we could have answered by subtracting one from it to get the Arun's birthday. But that is also not mentioned. Okay, that when was Arun's brother born? So statement second alone is not sufficient. If we combine the information together, one says when Arun returned from London after 3 days he celebrated his birthday, and Arun's brother's next day will be Arun's brother was born next day of the week of Arun's birthday. But even if we combine both the statement together, then also we are not able to answer the question because neither when Arun returned from London is given in the question, neither the Arun's brother's birthday has been mentioned in the question. So clearly by combining both the data also we are not sufficient to answer the question. So option 4 again becomes relevant, and that is the right answer only. Now again they are saying who among Q, T, R and M is the shortest. Okay, so we need to verify who is the shortest. Let's see the state number 1 alone. We'll check the state number 1 alone. He's saying R and Q are taller than T. So R and Q are taller than T. We are supposed to answer who is the shortest, but there is no connection of M, S, Q, M and S is not given. So clearly we cannot decide the shortest one from statement number 1 alone. If we see statement number 2 alone, S is not the shortest. S is not the shortest. If we see it alone, cannot decide that who is the shortest. So clearly statement number 2 alone also not sufficient to answer the question. If we combine the information together, okay, if we combine the information together, one information says R and Q are taller than T. S is not the shortest. But where is S lying? That is not mentioned. Whether S is lying on over R and Q also, whether S is lying between R and Q and T also, whether S is lying beneath T also, that is also not mentioned. So clearly by combining both the statements also, we are not able to answer the question. So option number 4 becomes right. That by combining also we are not being able to answer. Data is insufficient still. So option D becomes the right answer. Now let us see D is in which direction from M? That is the question. D is in which direction from N? That is the question. Let us see the option. First, let us verify the first statement alone. N is to the south of P. Okay, N is to the south of P. So let us see the directions first. How the directions are taken. This is north, this is south, this is east, and this is west. So N is to the south of P. So let us mark P, and to the south of him, let's take N. So south is denoted as downward. So N is to the south of P is reflected as this, which is to the west of D. This is about N. This is about rather P. N is to the south of P, which is to the west of D. So this the second statement is about P, that to the P is to the west of D. So somebody is to the west of D and P has to be the west of D, then obviously D has to be to the east of P. Vice versa. If P has to be the west of D, then clearly D has to be to the east of P. So east of P will be to the right side of P as mentioned here. So there will be lying D. So this information is provided in statement number 1. We are supposed to answer D is in which direction from N. So clearly we can answer D is in which direction from N. Clearly this direction is there, which is nothing but northeast. So statement number 1 is sufficient to answer the question alone itself. Let's check for statement number 2 whether it can alone answer the question. The question is R is to the west of D and northwest of N. R is to the west of D. So wheresoever is D, R is to the west of him. So R has to be here. This is how the west is located. R is to the west of D and northwest of M. This is about R only. R is also to the northwest of N. So northwest lies which way? Northwest lies this way. This is how the northwest is located. R is to the northwest of N. So this is how the things are related. Now, can we answer that D is in which direction from M? Yes, we can answer. D is in which direction of N? Is obviously north direction, upward. So statement number 2 is also sufficient to answer. The answers are coming different, but that is not the point. The point is whether the statements are sufficient to answer or not. Yes, they are sufficient. Both are individually sufficient to answer the question. This is available in option number T when data in either first alone or in second alone are sufficient to answer the question. That becomes the right answer, option C. Now, they are saying how is uh, how is move written in a code language? Okay, that's what we are supposed to answer. Let's verify statement number 1 alone. Move over there is written as pit no na in that code language. So clearly, if we see the first statement, we cannot answer what is the code for move because they are not arranged sequentially. Move over there, pit no na doesn't mean that first is the code of move, second is the code of over, and third is the code of there. It's not like that. They are shuffled. So move over there is written as pit no na doesn't tell me the code of move. So first is individually not sufficient to answer the question. If we see second alone, move man here is written as na mitka. So obviously we cannot answer again that what is the code for move because they can be shuffled in between also. Second alone is not sufficient to answer. Even if we combine both the information together, then if they say move man here, move over there. So no other word is common other than move. If say some any other word would have been common, so we could have cancelled out those words and the only code would have been left out was for move. But that is also not the scene. There is no other there is no other word common. So obviously, even if we combine the information together, then also we are not able to answer. Okay, if we combine both the information, move over there, move man here. Okay, na mitka and pit no na, even if we combine both of them together, we are not able to answer the question. So option is right answer is option 4. Okay, that is the right answer. Now we will have some change in the options. The options are taken as first and second are as it is. First alone sufficient, second alone not sufficient. Then A, the first option. For second alone sufficient, first alone not sufficient, second option. Either of them sufficient individually, third option. 4 and 5. 4 is first and second together sufficient, then is 4. And even if we combine first and second, nothing is sufficient, then 5. This is how we go about it. Let's see the question. The question is how many students are there between M and J in a row of 60 children? So there is a row of 60 children. We are supposed to tell how many students are there between M and J. So we need to see the position of M and J also. Let us see the first statement alone. First statement says M is 27th from the right hand in a row. So this is the right hand. M is 27th from the right hand. So if you see the right hand, so let's mark M is here. So there will be 26 people on the right of him. If somebody is 27 from the right, then obviously there will be 26 people to the right of him. Okay, that's what we have taken, 26 people to the right of him. Okay, this is the position of M. But can using the statement number 1 alone, are we able to answer that how many students are there between M and J? So clearly we are not able to answer how many students are there because the connection of J is missing. So first alone is not sufficient. If we take the second statement alone, again there are 60 students. Again there are 60 students. The second statement says J is 22nd from the left hand. So wheresoever J is from the left hand, that is from here, he is 22nd. So if somebody is 22nd from the left hand, how many people would have been to the left of him? Will be 21 people. Okay, 21 people. But statement number 2 doesn't give any idea about where is M. So second number statement also is not sufficient to answer the question alone. If we combine both of them together, if we combine the information from first and second together, yes, we can answer, because M is here, who's on the right of him there are 26 people, and J is somewhere to the left of him there are 21 people. So if we compare in a group of 60, if M is 27 from the right, then how many people will be to the left of M? So 60 minus 27. Okay, that is nothing but 33 people will be to the left of him. So to the left of him are 33 people. Then only the sum becomes 26. Okay, and to the left of J are 21 people. So clearly J has to lie somewhere to the left of M only. Okay, because to the left of J are 21 people. So J should lie somewhere to the left of M itself. Okay. So now to the left of M are 33 people. To the left of, and out of those 33, J is also included. So including J, how many people are there to the left of M? There are 33 people. So we are supposed to answer how many people between M and J. To the left of J are 21. J itself becomes 22. But but there were 33 people to the left of M. So 22 are already counted by us. So how many are left inside? There will be 11 people left between J and M. So we are able to answer when we combine the information together. So there are 11 people between M and J. So we are able to answer by combining the information together. So that is happening in which option? Option number 4, when together are necessary to answer the question. Option 4 becomes the right answer. Now, the same set of options, we are supposed to answer a question. How is never written in a code language? Okay, let us see the first statement. Never go there is written as ha da pa. So clearly the code of never doesn't come from this, because the codes are not arranged in sequentially, they are shuffled. So first alone is not sufficient. If we see second alone, go home now is written as da no ja in that code language. Can we answer how is the code of never? Never is not mentioned also here. So how can we answer that what is the code for never? So second alone is not sufficient. If we combine, what's going to happen? Never go there, hadapa, go home now. So is there anything common? Yes, go is the word common between these two. So the code of go can come. Okay, the code of go can come, whichsoever is the common code is the code for go. But by getting the code of go, we cannot get the code of never, because the code of go is coming as ha da pa and da no ja. So clearly the code for never code for go is da, because that is the only code common between these two. But then the codes remain are ha and pa. They can be the code of never and there, but that is not clear. Which is the code of ha and which is the code of never, which is the code of there, that is not mentioned. So clearly, even if we combine the information, we are not getting the clear answer. What is the clear code of never? So that's why we'll hit the option 5, which says first and second together also are not sufficient. That is the right answer. Now let us see 13. What is that is saying? VDKTJNR, who is shorter than only the tallest among them? Who is shorter than only the tallest among them? That means obviously we are supposed to find out the second tallest. Okay, let's see the statement number 1 alone. D is taller than V and J. D is taller than V and J, but it's not clear that which position does D lie. Okay, so clearly we cannot answer who is the tallest, who is the second tallest. We cannot answer anything from one. Sufficient, it's not sufficient. If we see second, R is taller than V but shorter than T. R is taller than V but shorter than T. Okay, so the order of T, R, V can be marked, but what about D, K, and J, there is no information provided. So we cannot tell that who is going to be the second tallest. So statement second also is not sufficient to answer alone. If we combine the information together, what's going to happen? They are saying D is taller than V and J. So but D can come anywhere. If we combine, D can come here also. D can come here also. D can come here also. Okay, it has to be over V and J, so D can come anywhere. So clearly, if the D's position is also not marked, so we cannot decide who is the tallest, who is the second tallest, and so on. So data in both the statement together also is not sufficient to answer the question. We hit the option 5, which says together not sufficient. Option E, that is 5. Okay. Now the next question says A is the sister of B. How are B and D related? Okay. Information given as an A is sister, so she has to be a female sister of B. But that doesn't tell the gender of B. A is sister of B, that is fine, but B's gender is what? That is not clear, and we are supposed to give the connection between B and D. What is the relation between B and D? So let us see the statement number one alone first. See, the statement number one says D is the brother of B. So D is male and is brother of B. Okay, but the gender of B is not mentioned, and the only information provided already with us is A is the sister. So A is female, A is the sister of D. So clearly A is the sister of D, and so A is becomes the sister of B also, because D is brother of B. So these three are siblings, but we are supposed to answer how are B and D related. We are supposed to answer how are B and D related. So B and D are related as siblings, either brother or sister. So state number one is clearly able to answer the question. Okay, D is the brother of B. So clearly a connection of D and B is mentioned. The D is the brother of B. That is the connection. How are B and D related? As brothers. So statement one is alone sufficient to answer the question. Then also we check for statement number second. F is the sister of D. We already know this. A is the female, B and D. B we know, and A is the female sister of B. This much we know. F is the sister of D. So F is the sister of D. But where does D lie in this diagram? That is not mentioned. Where does D lie in this diagram? So if D's position is not marked in the second diagram, so clearly we cannot answer the question using statement number second alone. But statement number first alone was sufficient. This is the option A, which says statement number one is alone sufficient, but statement number second is not alone sufficient. So that is option one as first option. Now the question says among F, H, K, R, and B, who reached the office the last? Who reached office the last? F, H, K, R, and B, who reached the office last? Statement number one says H and K reached office together. So H and K, let's mark them together. Okay. But can we answer using this who is reached last? Obviously we cannot, because the information of other people are not mentioned. If we see second alone, what is the second alone saying? Only F and R reached office ahead of K. So ahead of K, F and R have reached. Rest of the people are behind K. That is clear. But can we answer who reached the office last? We cannot answer that, because the whosoever are behind K, their order is not mentioned. So we cannot answer it like that. Okay. Now, if we combine the information together, okay, if we combine the information together, they are saying, okay, H and K reach the office together. So K is here. So obviously H has to be alongside him. They are reaching together, and F and R are only above K. So F and R are above K and H as well. So which is left out to come after K and H? Let us check. F, H, K, R, B. So only B is left out, who can come behind K and H. So B is the person who is coming last. That's what they had asked. Who reached the office last? So statement number second alone is sufficient to answer. But statement number one alone is not sufficient to answer. So this option is available as 2. Statement second alone sufficient, but statement number first alone is not sufficient. Option called as B becomes the right answer. Okay. Let us check for rather. No. Option called second is not the answer, but we could get the information when we combine the information. We could answer the question we could when we combine the equation all the information all together. Then only we could answer the question, which is available in option 4. Option 4, data in both the statement first and together only is necessary to answer the question. We could bring the information together, then only we could answer this question. That's why option 4 is the right answer. Information together only is sufficient to answer the question. Now, there is a graph given, and clearly we need to see the instruction. Okay, and then we'll check statement 1 alone, statement second alone, combining information, then we'll be able to answer the question. What says the graph? There's a picture drawn, and then obviously we can see that there is a circle created and there is a sector that has been shaded by lines, and the angle is 30 degree. The question asked is, in the given figure, what is the diameter of the circle? Okay, so we are supposed to answer what is the diameter of the circle. Okay, let us check the first statement. First statement said the area of the largest section of the circle is 33 pi. Area of the largest section of the circle is 33 pi. Let's see what is that largest section. See, the total area of a circle is always given by pi r square. Okay, and that is the largest. That's what they're saying. The area of the largest section is 33 pi. But how we connect the area of the largest section of the circle is 33 pi. This is what they are saying. So we relate these things by the help of sectors. Okay. So let us see what is the angle associated with the unshaded portion of the circle. Okay. Angle associated with the unshaded portion of the circle is 30 degree. That is how much, what part of the total angle on the circle, that is 360 degree. How much part it is? If we divide it by 360 degree, then it is 1/12 part. Okay, so this particular sector is 1/12 part, which has been not shaded, is 1/12 part of the whole circle. So clearly we can write down that if we see statement number 1 alone, that area of the shaded portion becomes what? So 1/12 is this. So the area of the shaded portion will be the later part. Okay, the area of shaded would be the later part. How much is that? That is obviously 33 pi. The later part is, so that is the area of the shaded portion, and we relate the area as pi r square. That becomes 33 pi. That is the area of the other part of the circle. Okay, so that can be related as pi r square. Thus if we do this, pi and pi gets cancelled, so we can divide it by 11 and multiply by 12. We can get the r square value as 36. If we do like this, the r square value comes out to be 36, which mentions r value as 6. If the r value is achieved, clearly we are able to answer what is the diameter is going to be 2r, that is 12. So op statement number 1 is sufficient to answer the question that the diameter is 12. Let us see statement number second alone, whether it can answer the question also. Statement number second says length of the arc on the unshaded portion of the circle is pi. Length of the arc on the unshaded portion of the circle is, as they mention, is pi. So let's see the unshaded portion, the length of the arc. Okay, this is what the portion, and this is the unshaded portion. The angle is 30 degree, and length of this arc is 30 is pi, as given as pi. Now there is a formula relating the length of the arc of a sector. Okay, so the total circumference of the circle is 2 pi r, and the circumference of the this sector unshaded portion is pi. They are linked up in the same situation, as total angle of the circle would have been 360 degree, and the angle of this particular this particular sector is 30 degree. So the circumferences are also related in this fashion only. So clearly we can see that pi and pi can cancel. So we can see that 2r over 1 is 30. If we divide 30 and 360, this is nothing but 12 by 1. So we can say 2r by 1 is equal to 12 by 1, which is clearly mentioning 2r value as 12. Okay, and that's what was the diameter. Again, diameter is nothing but 2r, so 2r value comes out to be 12. So clearly statement number second also is sufficient to answer the question individually, alone. Okay, so both the statements are sufficient to answer the question, first and second both. So clearly which option is right? Option number 3 is right, which says both the information alone are sufficient. Statement number 1 alone is sufficient, and statement second alone is also sufficient. So this is the right answer. Now they say they have a diagram drawn. Now let us check what they are asking. In the given figure, what is the value of c plus d? So clearly we need to answer the value of c plus d. So let us redraw this diagram a little bigger so that it is easy to understand. Okay, little bigger we have drawn. The straight line is there like this, and then they are connected like this, and then there is a triangle drawn like this, where he's mentioning this is c, he's mentioning this is d, then point B, vertex B is mentioned here, angle B is here, angle A is here, angle E is there, and angle F is there. This is the information that is provided to us. We are supposed to answer what is the angle C plus D together mean. So if you see the diagram and if you see the statement number one, statement number say one says B plus F is equal to 80 degree. Okay, angle B plus angle F is equal to 80 degree. So let us see first what will be the sum of C plus D. So clearly if you see this small triangle like this, okay, if you see this small triangle where this is A and this is C, this is that small triangle named as A, B and C. This angle is C, this angle is D. What will be this angle? This angle will be obviously 180 minus C plus D, because there is an angle sum say property of the triangle says the sum of the angles of a triangle is 180 degree. So angle B, this particular angle will be nothing but 180 minus sum of the rest of the angle, that is C plus D. Now but this very angle is equal to this very angle because they are uh, uh, okay, they are on the other side. Okay, so that's why these two angles will be equal to each other. Okay, they are shaped by a cross. Okay, so these two angles will be equal to each other. Now what about this angle? Okay, what about this angle? This angle will be nothing but there is a triangle in which two angles are mentioned, A and B. Okay, there is a triangle, so this particular angle will be nothing but 180 minus A plus B, will be nothing but 180 minus A plus B. This is mentioned. So this very angle has come as 180 minus A plus B. Okay. Now let us check. Can we answer by this information? Can we answer the question? So this very angle has come as 180 minus A plus B, but there is no value of A given. Rather, there is no value of B also given. They have given B and F combined. So that doesn't make any sense that that by using B and F together, can we able to answer the measure of this angle? We cannot. So if this angle cannot be answered, then obviously this angle cannot be answered also. So this is how we cannot answer the question like that. So statement number one alone is not sufficient to answer the question. Let us check statement number second. Okay, statement number second says A plus B is 110. Okay, so A plus B is 110. We have got an idea that A 180 minus A plus B will be this angle. Okay, will be this angle. 180 minus A plus B will be this angle. So this angle becomes what? 180 minus A plus B value is 110. That is nothing but 70 degrees. So if this angle is 70 degree, then opposite to that angle, this particular angle will also become 70 degree. Okay, so what is the measure of C plus D? This the measure of C plus D is nothing but 180 minus C plus D. Okay, and this is equal to 70 degree. As we mentioned here, this angle and this angle are equal. This angle and this angle are equal. So 180 minus C plus D becomes 70 degree, which gives us the C plus D combined value as 180 minus 70, that is 110 degree. So statement number second alone could answer the question. So we have to hit the option called as B, which says statement second alone sufficient, but statement one alone is not sufficient. So option B becomes the right answer. Second number. Okay. Now let us see the diagram again. What is parameter of BCD in the given figure? Okay. Parameter means sum of the length of the side. BCDE. BC uh, B, C, and D. So we have supposed to add B, C, and D only, and able to answer the question. So figure is already done. What information is given to us? This length 3 is given, this length 8 is given. So clearly they are 90 degree. So that is a nothing but a right angle. So DC value also becomes 3. Okay, they are 90 degree, they are rectangle. So obviously if the opposite side is 3, so this side also has to be 3. Okay. Now the perimeter of rectangle ABCD is 18. ABCD, that is ABCD. We can redraw it like here also. ABCD. The parameter is given as 18, where we already know that AB value is 3, CD value is 3. So clearly, and BC and AD length will be same because that is a rectangle. Opposite sides are equal. So we can write AB plus 3 plus BC plus 3 is equal to 18, where AB and DC are equal. So clearly the sum of AB plus rather sum of no, this is written wrong. AB, in place of AB we can write 3, plus in place of BC we write just BC, plus in place of CD we write again 3, plus in place of AD we just write AD, and that sum is equal to 18. But BC and AD are same, so what we can write, BC plus AD is equal to 18 minus 3 plus 3, that is 18 minus 6, that is nothing but 12. So BC plus AD is 12, where BC and AD are equal. So each value is 12 by 2. BC is also 6 and AD is also 6. So we have got the value of BC and AD. So for finding out the DE, clearly we can have a Pythagoras theorem employed in the triangle EAD. If you see that, we can employ the Pythagoras triangle EAD because there is a 90-degree. Pythagoras theorem can be applied here. Okay, where this this length is given as 8, AD we just calculated to be 6. So AD is calculated to be 6, this value is 8. So clearly we can apply the Pythagoras theorem here, which says hypotenuse square is equal to base square plus perpendicular square. Here the hypotenuse is ED. So ED square is equal to 8 square plus 6 square. So clearly by solving this, we can answer the value of ED. Okay, which comes out to be 64 plus 36, that are the squares, that becomes 100. So ED value comes out to be under root of 100, that is 10. So as soon as we get the ED, we are supposed to answer parameter of, we were supposed to answer BCDE. So DE value is already come 10 and BC we had already calculated to be 6. So the BCED parameter becomes 10 plus 6, 16. So clearly statement number 1 is completely sufficient to answer the question. Okay, let us check at the same time the statement second also. Area of rectangle ABCD is 18. Okay, ABCD rectangles area. Okay, this is what was ABCD, A, B, C and D. Area of rectangle ABCD is given as 18, where this and this were 3. We are not fetching the information from statement number 1. We are just going by statement number 2 information. So these are your 3 and 3. These are 90-degree obviously because it is a rectangle. Now the area is given as 18. So what is area? Area is always length into breadth. So length is unknown. AD and BC length is unknown for now. So clearly let's take length into breadth value is 3 is equal to 18. From there we can get L value as 18 by 3, that is 6. So length value is 6. So clearly AD value becomes 6 and BC also becomes 6. And we have got this extension like this in the original figure where this length was 8 and this particular point was, the higher point was E, so this point was E. So clearly we are again getting the same right triangle like that, where this is 8, this is 6, and we can get the length of ED as we got for the first statement also. So length of ED is achieved and length of BC we already know. So parameter of the parameter which he asked for was BCD, can again be found out by adding them together. So clearly data provided in both the statement alone is sufficient to answer the question. Okay, so that's in this case we have the option called as C. Data in statement 1 alone and statement 2 alone is sufficient to answer the question. So option number C becomes the right answer. Now let us see the next one. Okay, so there is a diagram given, but are we supposed to know what is the radius of the circle with center O in the given figure? We are supposed to know the radius of the circle with center O. So clearly we can see that the diameter of this circle is actually the circle of is actually the radius of the bigger circle. So clearly the connection between the bigger circle and the smaller circle is that area of big circle is actually twice of area of small circle. Okay, why? Because uh, what is the thing given? Rather, area we can compare these things in terms of diameter. Okay, the diameter of big circle is equal to twice the diameter, twice the rather what we can say, radius of the bigger circle. Radius of big circle is actually equal to diameter of the small circle. Okay, so clearly the ratio between the radius of the bigger circle and radius of the small circle is 2:1. Okay, that is the connection. Let's say the bigger circle has got a radius of capital R and a small circle has a radius of R. So clearly the connection becomes R is twice of small r, because we can obviously see the diameter of the first circle is actually becoming the radius of the bigger circle. So capital R is equal to twice of small r. And see, both these small circles are actually covering the total diameter of the total bigger circle. So the same logic can be applied to the other circle as well, that for the other small circle, let's say the first small circle has got a radius of r1, the other small circle has got a radius of r2. So r is equal to 2r1 and capital R is also equal to 2r2, which says r1 equal to r2. So the radius of the two small circle is equal and both are equal to half the radius of the bigger circle that is visible in the diagram also. Now, let us check what we are supposed to answer. What is the radius of the circle with center O? We are supposed to find out radius of circle with center. That is, we are supposed to find out the radius of the bigger circle. Okay. Now, the information provided, the first information provided is area of the shaded region is 8 pi r. Okay. Area of the shaded region is given as 8 pi r. How can we find out the area of the shaded region? Okay. We can find out the area of the shaded region. If we see first statement alone, can be found out by area of the bigger circle minus area of the two small circle. That will be the area left for the shaded portion. Okay, shaded portion can be given as area of the big circle minus two areas. Okay, areas of two small circle. Areas of two small circle. That will be the shaded portion. Okay, so let us use it. Area of the bigger circle minus areas of the two small circles. So we have assumed the radius of bigger is capital R and the radius of the smaller one is small r. So shaded portion area becomes area of a circle is given by pi r square. So pi capital R square minus twice the area of pi small r square, because the radius of both the small circle is same, so we can take that as small r. Okay, this is the area of the shaded portion and this has been given as, the value is given as 8 pi. So obviously we can take the pi common. If we take the pi common, it becomes r square minus 2 small r square is equal to 8 pi. Pi and pi gets cancelled. If we solve it further, r square minus 2r square. Okay, but as we already established that r is equal to twice of r1, so we can write r is equal to twice of small r. So if we replace this thing in here, what we do, we get, in place of r we are supposed to find out the area of the larger circle, so we'll replace it for 2r. So r square minus, in place of 2r square, what we can write, okay, in place of 2r square we can write what, again, see the radius of the smaller circle, radius of the bigger circle is capital R square and radius of the smaller circle is small r square. So clearly by using this we can find out that 2 pi into half of r, because that is the radius of the smaller circle, is equal to 4 pi, because ultimately it was 8 pi. When we have done the half of it, that is 4 pi. By this logic we can get pi and pi gets cancelled, 2 to the 4 and 2 to the 4 also, so r value coming out to be 4. So area of radius of the small circle has come out to be 4, and this is how we can answer the radius of the circle centered as O. If we see the statement number second alone, let us see the statement number second alone. Okay, if we see the statement number second alone, what we can see, that he's saying circumference of one of the smaller circle is 4 pi. Okay, but as we see from the diagram, both the circles are exactly equal, so the circumference of both the circles are actually equal. Okay, so what we can write here, that uh, what we can write with the area of circumference of both the circle are equal, so we can say that circumference of a circle, as we know, circumference of a circle is given by, circumference of a circle is given by 2 pi r. Okay, so what we can say, with the same thing we can say, the circumference has been given as 4 pi. So clearly what we can write for this, we can write that 2 pi into half of r is equal to 4 pi, because that is the circumference. To circumference become 2 pi r. In place of r we are writing the radius of the small circle, that is half of r. So 2 pi into half of r becomes actually equal to 4 pi. Pi and pi gets cancelled, 2 and 2 gets cancelled, so clearly r value is coming out to be 4 again. So clearly statement number second alone is also sufficient to answer the question. In this situation is option called as C, when statement in both the statement alone are sufficient to answer the question. So let's hit the option called as C, and that becomes the right answer. Okay. Now, again, a paragraph is mentioned where the instructions are provided how to answer the question for data sufficiency. There's a diagram drawn also. Now, what is asking? In the given figure, is angle ABC a right angle? We are supposed to verify whether this very angle ABC is a right angle or not. Okay. What information has been provided? L1 is parallel to L2. So these two lines are parallel. When two lines are parallel to each other, then their corresponding and intermediate alternate angles are equal. What does that mean? If these two lines are parallel like that and there is a transversal cutting them like that, then the corresponding angles are this and this angle are called as corresponding angle to each other. So this angle is already mentioned in the diagram as 37 degrees. So this very angle, that is angle C, also become 37 degree because of the corresponding thing. And There is a interior alternate also. Okay, interior alternate also angle are equal. But we can see if this is 37 degree, then this very angle, okay, this very angle is just opposite to this. So this also will be 37. Angle just opposite to this cross is also equal. So this angle is also becoming 37. Okay. Now we need to verify whether ABC is right angle or not. So this is how the triangle has been created. One angle has been 37. Another angle we have to verify whether it is a 90 degree or not. And the third angle is not mentioned, but it is given just X. So by the information of the only one angle, we cannot decide whether the angle B is a right angle or not. So clearly by this way we cannot answer. Only using statement number one we cannot answer the question. If we see the statement number second alone, so if the statement number second is alone seen, then value of X is mentioned, but they have, in statement number second is not telling that L1 and L2 are parallel. So we cannot explore this detail. We cannot reach to this conclusion that this very angle is 37 degree if the L1 and L2 are not given parallel. Okay, so clearly by using statement number second alone, we cannot find out what is the measure of angle B. But what if we combine both the information? If we combine both the information, then this 37 degree we have already achieved, and this X degrees value they are giving us 53 degree. So now we have got a triangle where this angle is 53 degree, this angle is 37 degree. We need to verify whether this is a right angle or not. Okay, how to verify? The angle sum of a triangle is always become equal to 180 degree. So let us see 53 plus 37 plus the angle ABC has to be always 180 degree. So what is the measure of angle ABC? Is obviously going to be 180 minus 57 plus 53 plus 37. If we find out this is 180 minus 53 plus 37 is how much? 60 plus 3, 90. With 180 minus 90, that is nothing but 90 degree only. So clearly, angle BABC has come out to be angle ABC has come out to be 90 degree. That's what we were supposed to verify whether ABC a right angle or not. Yes, it is found to be a right angle. So how this was possible? This was made possible when we combined the data from statement number 1 and statement number second. Then only this was possible. So option C is the right answer for this question. Now the question says there are again mark 1 when statement 1 alone is sufficient, mark 2 when statement second is alone is sufficient, third if both the statement first and second together are sufficient, but and mark 4 when both the statement together are also not sufficient. So four options are there. Now let us see the question. The three positive numbers A, B, C are in GP. Three positive numbers A, B, C are in GP. This is the information given. The first number is 5. Find the sum of these three numbers. So we have been given three numbers A, B, C. So we can write down add them as A, B, and C. And the first number is 5. So 5, B, C, and they are said to be in GP. When the numbers are in GP, the connection of A, B, C, if three numbers A, B, C are in GP, the connection becomes B by A is equal to C by B, or we can write it down as B square is equal to AC. That is the connection when the numbers are in GP. Okay. So this is the information already provided. Let us verify statement number 1 alone. All the numbers are odd. Okay, first number is 5, second number is unknown, and third number is unknown. They are saying all the numbers are odd. That is the first statement. Now we know that ABC are in GP as they already said. Okay, so now let us verify. A is 5, B. So if they are in GP, they are also connected in a ratio that B by A is equal to R, and similarly C by B is also equal to R, where R is the ratio. Okay, so we can write down that B is equal to AR and C is equal to BR. We can write down like that also. So what we can write, if the first number is 5, then second number is going to be for second number becomes AR, so it becomes 5R. Okay, and the same way the third number becomes 5R square. Okay, so 5R square, 5R and 5R square, these are the three numbers. Okay, now if we see the statement 1 alone, all the numbers are odd. So this, if the all the numbers are odd, then there is no definite point that that they are in they three numbers are in GP already given. So the first number is 5. Find the sum of these numbers. We are supposed to find the sum of these numbers. So if the first number is 5, the second number can be anything that depends on R. So if R is an odd number, then let's say R is 3. So 5 3 is 15. So it also becomes odd. And if here R is 3, so it becomes 5 into 3 square is 9, 5 9 45. So these are the three numbers that we receive. But the importance of R is very much important, because if R is not there, then the numbers cannot be defined. And if the numbers cannot be defined, we cannot find the sum of them. So just by saying that all the three numbers are odd doesn't solve our purpose. There can be n number of odd numbers. So the statement number one alone is not sufficient clearly. If we see the statement number second alone first, he's saying third number is 4 times the first number. So we already know the first number is 5. Second number is 5r as they are in GP, and the third number is 5r square as they are in GP. They are saying third number is 4 times the first number. So 5r square is 4 times of 5. So clearly this can give 5 and 5 gets cancelled. R square value is 4, which gives R value as 2. So if the R value is 2, and that R was only important for us for finding out these three numbers. So the first number as it is 5. Second number is 5R, that is 5 into 2, that is 10. Third number is 5R square, that is R value is 2. So 2 square is 4. 4 into 5 is 20. So these are the three numbers that we receive. And the sum of these three numbers can obviously be found out by 5 plus 10 plus 20. That is nothing but 35. So clearly by statement number second alone, we are able to answer the question. So in this situation, which option do we hit? He says mark 2 if statement second alone sufficient, but statement 1 alone is not sufficient. So in this case, first statement was not sufficient and second is sufficient. So we'll hit the option B, that is 2. Okay. For the same statement and information and options, we are supposed to answer a different question. They are saying Ravi, Shankar, and Sham enter into a partnership in which they contribute a total of 14,500 rupees. Okay. They all are coming together. Okay. And the total of the investment that they have made is 14,500. At the end of the year, they make a profit of 2,000 rupees. What is the share of the profit did Ravi get? So when in terms of partnership questions, the profit is always distributed in terms of their investment ratios. Okay. And also the time factor is also there. How much time this investment is part of the business, that is also important. But here they all have entered together, so there is no time difference between their investment, how much time their investments are part of the business. That is not different for each individual, because they have entered together. So only the investment part is different. Investment one, investment two, number three, that's so the profit will be distributed in this ratio only, in the investment ratio. But by now the investment ratio is not mentioned, but the total investment is given. Okay. So let us see the statement number one and verify. Ravi and Shankar invested equal amount of money. So let's say the amount of money invested by Ravi is equal to Shankar is equal to X rupees. So the total investment is X plus the investment of Sham, and this total gives you the total of investment of 14,500. But by this information, we cannot get the value of X and Sham. Okay. So if we don't get the value of X and Sham, then obviously we cannot create this investment ratio, which will decide later on that what should be the distribution of the profit, in what ratio the profit will be distributed. So clearly, if the investment ratio cannot be defined from statement number one, the statement number one is clearly not sufficient to answer the question. If we see the statement number second alone, Ravi's investment was two-third that of Shankar. So Ravi's investment is 2 by 3 of Shankar's investment, and Shankar's investment is 6 by 19 of Sham's investment. So clearly we can do something here. Shankar, this is Shankar, uh, two-third of Shankar's investment, and Shankar's investment was uh, 6 by 19th of Sham's investment. So clearly Shankar's investment value can be put back here. So we can say Ravi is two-third of Shankar, and is equal to and where Shankar is 6 by 19 of Sham itself. So Ravi is also 2 by 3 into Shankar's value is 6 by 19 of Sham. So we can write in place of Shankar 6 by 19 of Sham. So we can get down some ratio, 3 to just 6. So it comes out to be the ratio between Ravi and Sham comes out to be 2 to the 4 by 19, and ratio of Ravi and Shankar is already given as 2 by 3. So clearly the ratios of each and everybody is defined now. Okay. So obviously the investment ratio is available. When the investment ratio is available with us, then obviously we can find out the the distribution of profit between these three, because the investment ratio would be available. So obviously, using statement number second, we are easily able to answer the question. So in this situation, we mark the option second, that is statement number second is alone sufficient, but statement number one is not sufficient. Option B is right. Now, we have to answer this. Is the sum of two real numbers A and B even? Is the sum of two real numbers A and B, whether A plus B is even? That we are supposed to answer. Let us check the first option. Both A and B are positive integers. Both A and B are positive integer. That is the first thing asked. So if both A and B are positive integers, then there can be n number of positive integers. If the A and B is, let's say, 2 and 3, so 2 plus 3 becomes 5. But if A and B are 3 plus 4, then that becomes 7. If A and B are, and they have not said consecutive, so A and B can be 2 plus 6 also, and that is making it 8. So clearly it is obvious that by just by giving their positive integers, the sum can be anything, even or odd also. So statement number one is not sufficient alone. If we see statement number second, what is statement second saying? Both A and B are negative integers. So that there can be n number of combination of negative integer. Let's say -2 plus -5. So if we add them together, this becomes -2 -5, that is -7. That is becoming even. That is becoming odd. If we add -2 minus 4, then what will happen? -2 -4 will be -6. That is even. So clearly, with two negative integers also, we are getting somewhere as odd, somewhere as even. So clearly, statement number second is also not sufficient to answer the question. Even if we combine, they cannot be combined, because A and B can be either positive integer or can be negative integer. So the information cannot be combined also. So clearly, both the statement first and second are not able to answer the question. That is 4 is the right answer, and which is available in option number D. Now, we are supposed to find out A, B, C are three integer. Is the sum A, B and twice C an even number? That is, we are supposed to find out whether A plus B plus twice of C is even or not. That's what we are supposed to check. Okay, what he is giving? A is positive integer. Okay, so just by having first information that A is positive integer, we can have n number of positive integers. So just by knowing the first number's value, obviously B is unknown and 2C is unknown, we cannot check whether the number will be even or not. Obviously 2C will be even. Twice of any number, whether it is an odd number or an even number, becomes even. So this will always be even, and A is given out to be in the first statement as even. But what about B? B status is not clear. If these two evens are added, even and even make it as even. But that depends on B. But whether B is odd or even, where that will be deciding that whether the total sum is even or odd. So clearly the information of B is missing in statement number one. So statement number one alone cannot answer the question. If we see statement number second alone, B is a negative odd integer. So the information of A is not there now, because B is saying, statement saying B is just a negative odd integer. So negative odd integer plus an even will make what kind of number? That will depend on the status of A. What is the A? What is the value of A? Whether it is a odd or it is a even. So clearly by statement number second alone, we cannot answer the question. But what if we combine? If we combine A plus B plus 2C, obviously 2C is even, because a double of any number is even. What about B? B is a negative odd integer. Let's say that is -5. It can be anything. Okay. Plus A is a positive even integer. Let's take any positive integer as 6. Now, if we add this, 6 minus 5 will be 1. That is odd. And odd plus even will always be odd. Odd plus even will always be odd. So clearly the answer is coming. Answer question was, is the sum ABC twice C an even number? Answer is coming as no. So we are able to answer the question. The answer could be between yes and no only, and we are able to answer the question that the answer is no. So clearly, by combining the information together, we are able to answer this question that the answer becomes no. So clearly, the mark we have supposed to mark option 3, which says both statement first and second together are sufficient. So right answer is C3. Now he says, what is the value of x1? You are given x1, x2, x3, x4 as real numbers. First statement says x2 minus x1 is equal to 100 minus x3 plus x4. So clearly, by having this knowledge, we are not supposed to find out the value of x1 because there is x2 also missing, x3 also missing, x4 also missing. So statement number 1 alone is not sufficient. If we see statement number 2 alone, what is happening? X square plus x to the power 4 is equal to 20 minus x cube. Okay, x square plus x to the power 4 is equal to 20 minus x cube. So here there is no mention of x1 or x2. So clearly this statement is not able to answer because x1 and x2 are not given. He is talking in terms of x, not x1 and x2. So this statement also is not sufficient even if we combine them together. So first statement is talking about x1, x2, x3, x4. Second statement is talking about just x. So clearly there are 5 unknown variables now. So clearly we cannot answer what is the value of x1. So by combining together also, the answer is not coming. So clearly state mark, or we have to hit mark option as 4, which says both together also are not sufficient. Now, let us see the next one. How many students cleared JEE entrance qualifying exam this year? That is the question, whether we can answer it or not. First statement says 2 years back, 10,000 students clear JEE entrance examination. So clearly, what happened 2 years back cannot be related in this present scenario unless there is some connection given. So clearly, statement number 1 is not sufficient. Okay. If we see statement number 2 alone, last 2 years, the number of students failing to qualify is increasing at 10% per year. So let's say the third the year previous to the last year, the uh, uh, number of people who qualified were A. Last year, the number of people who qualified were B. The next in the next year, the number of people who qualify is C. So the second statement is saying there is a 10% increase. So we can say B is 10% more than A, and A is and similarly C is 10% more than B. But this does not give me any number. So if this is not giving any number and the question was asked how many student, so they are just giving the connection, but they are not giving any number as the answer. So clearly statement number 1 alone is not sufficient to answer the question. Let us see statement number 2. For the last 2 years, the number of students failing to, this is statement number 2 only checked, statement number 1 was already checked. If we combine, okay, if we combine the information, they are saying 2 years back 10,000 students cleared the JEE entrance exam qualifying exam. Okay, so very last year, 2 years back was, for the last 2 years, 2 years back was, this is 10,000. Okay, now the second, on the last day, on the last year, 1 year back, how many would have cleared? They are saying there's an increase of 10%. So 10,000 plus 10% of that 10,000, that is 1,000, that is total 11,000. So this many would have cleared. Okay, and the coming year they said for consecutively every year 10% more are qualifying. So next year will be 11,000 plus 10% of 11,000. Okay, that will be how much? That will be 11,000 plus 1,100, that will be nothing but 12,100. So we are getting all the data when we are combining the information. Okay, we are getting all the data when we are combining the information. Okay, so if we see like that, so when we combine, we are able to, and they are asked for the last 2 years, the number of students failing to qualify is increasing. But we have, so this is the data of failing. Okay, this data is belonging to failing. But the statement number 2, the data was belonging to how many qualifying. So the qualifying data is separately given and failing data is separately given. So when we combined also, then there is an increase in failing. So we cannot relate the two statements also together. Okay, one data belongs to the qualifying statement 1, statement 2 is giving the data of failing ones. So clearly they cannot be combined also. Even if you combine, you will not be able to answer the question. So what we can say, that how many students cleared the JEE qualifying exam this year? The statement in both the information together also is not sufficient to answer the question. Right answer becomes option mark 4. Okay, which says together are also not sufficient. Okay. Now, same thing, the same options given. A can give 10-yard start to B in a 1 mile race. That is the question. A can give a 10-yard start to B in a 1 mile race. How much start can A give to C? That becomes the question. Okay. So let us see the options for let us see the statement for the first statement says, okay, first we say B can give C a start of 30 yard in a 2 mile race. Okay, B can give a start of 30 yards in a 2 mile race. So statement, as per statement, we can understand that we can find out the relative speed of A, B, and C, because the connection of B and C is given in statement number 1, and connection of A and B is already available with us in the initial information. So obviously the relative speed between A, B, and C, okay, that is the connection between the speeds of A, B, C can be found out, because A and B's speed connection we have already been provided in the first statement in terms of 1 mile race, 10-yard start, and B and C connection is provided in the statement number 1. So we can obviously establish the connection between statement person A, B, and C. So we can say that statement number 1 is can give a connection of relative speeds of ABC, but where we are supposed to answer how much start A can give to C. So let us see the statement number second also. Okay, what is the statement number second? That A and C plan to run 1 mile race. So this is what is the thing given. B can give a start of 30 yard in a circle. So relative speed is also given. The connection of speed can be also find out. A and C plan to run a 1 mile race. So the length of the race is also provided. Okay, the relative speed can be connection can be found out from statement number 1, and how much long racer it is, because for finding out the start we are supposed to know the speed also, the speed connection also, and the length of the race also. It depends on both. So obviously we are getting the connection between the A and C is planning, that how much time they take. Okay, so the 1 mile race can be also given in the information. So in the second statement, the length of the race is also provided. Okay, but in the statement of first, the connection of their speed is also provided. Okay, so we can, yes, by combining these two information together, we can answer A can how much start can A give to C. So clearly, the option called as option number 3 is right, which says by combining both the statement, we can answer the question. So option C is right. Now, if we see this next one, A, B, C, and D are four consecutive odd integers. What is the value of E? A, B, C, D are four consecutive odd integers. So let us assign some numbers. So the things will be easy. Let us say 3, 5, 7, and 9. They are consecutive odd integers. Okay. Now let us see the first statement. First statement says if D is nth odd integer, E is n plus 2 second odd integer. What we are supposed to under, what is the value of E? But value of E will depend on the value of, if you see statement number second, the value D is the nth odd integer. So let's say this is D, that is first odd integer. Okay, first odd integer, and E is n plus 2. So if n value is 1, D is the first one, n plus 2 is 1 plus 2, that is third. So third is this. So he is E. So he is the third odd integer, that is n plus 2. So E is 7, D is 3. Now, what is the value of E? So obviously value of E has dependent on value of D. Here we have taken just an example, but this can be any set of odd values. This can be anything. This can be 11, 13, 15, and 17 as well. In that case, D will become 11, and obviously E will become 15. So for this case, the value of E will come out as 15. For earlier case 3 by 7, and the value of E has come out as 7. So clearly what is the value of E depends on the value of D. So D's value should be mentioned, which is not given. So statement number 1 alone is not sufficient to answer the question. So first is not sufficient. If we see statement number second alone, sum of B and C is even. Okay, so D, so if we see just second information, then A, B, C, D are there. They are consecutive four odd integers. So let's write them A, B, C, D. The sum of B plus C is saying even. Okay, so the question says A, B, C, and D are four consecutive odd integers. What is the value of E? Okay, so A, B, C, and D. These are the four consecutive odd integers. Consecutive odd integers can be understood as 3, 5, 7, 9. So there is a plus 2 gap always. So these are called as the consecutive odd integers in a continuation. So these are A, B, C, D given. Then he says, what is the value of E? So clearly we are supposed to find out the value of E, which is not yet mentioned, but he'll mention somewhere in the statement. The first statement is D is the nth odd. If D is the nth odd integer, E is n plus 2 odd integer. That means E is two more two T T E is two more rank above then D. This is how we have to take it, like is the third consecutive odd number after D. This is how we have to take. So E is n plus second odd integer. So it has to be E here. So that means there will be a gap of plus 2 in all of them. That's what is the first statement saying. Can we guess the value of E out of this from statement number 1? Obviously, we cannot guess the value of E from this very statement, because the value of A, B, C, D are not mentioned. Okay, because the value of A, B, C, D are not mentioned. That's why it is very difficult, or it is impossible to predict what is the value of E after this statement. So clearly, statement number 1 is not sufficient to answer the question. This is clear. Now, so statement number 1 alone is not sufficient. Let us check statement number 2 alone. Is statement number 2 alone sufficient to answer the question? Let's take it. Statement second says sum of B plus C, B and C is even. So B and C's sum is even. So obviously sum of two odd number always remains even. So if we check 5 plus 7, that is 12. If we check 3 plus 5, that is also 8, which is an even number. So they are not providing any different information when they are saying sum of B plus C, that is sum of B plus C is becoming even. So in this situation also they are not providing any number, because the number cannot be guessed. As the number cannot be guessed, so it is not possible for us to tell the value of E for this case as well. So that's why we cannot answer this question. Okay. Even if the both the statement and both the informations are provided to us, we cannot answer this very question. Okay, so that's why the answer becomes mark 4, which says statement 1 and second together also not sufficient to answer the question. That is D answer. That is the right one. Now, in the next question, he says A, B, C, and D are in AP arithmetic progression. What is the value of fifth number? Now the question says A, B, C, and D are in AP, that is arithmetic progression. What is the value of fifth number of that AP? So clearly we can write them like this: A, B, C, and D. They are the four numbers. They are in AP. Arithmetic progression is a progression in which the difference between all the consecutive terms of an AP is same. That is, we can say B minus A is equal to C minus B and equal to D minus C, and so on. And we dedicate this difference as a common difference, which is called as small d. Okay, so the first thing they are asking is, the first statement says the value of A is unity. So if value of A is unity, unity means 1. This is statement number 1, providing the information. If value of A is 1, so can we find out the value of the next number after D? Because we cannot find the number, because only the first number is given, but what is going to be the difference every time that is to be added to the first term to generate the second term? That common difference is missing. So clearly statement number 1 alone is not sufficient to answer the question. Now let us check statement number 2, whether it is sufficient. The value of B and C differs by 3. So if we check just only the second statement, is saying value of B and C differs by 3. That is, there's the difference 3. So that means obviously if they are in AP, the common difference remains same. So this difference is also 3. This difference is also 3. But in statement number 2 alone, the value of none of the number has been given. So obviously only the common difference is given, but the first term or any other term is not given in the second statement. So second statement alone is not sufficient. If we combine both the information together, then yes, the value of A is already with us, that is 1, and the difference is 3. So this way we can predict the number. So next number, the B value will be 1 plus 3, that is 4. C value will be 4 plus 3, that is 7. D value will be 7 plus 3, 10, and E value will be obviously 10 plus 3, 13. So by combining both the information together, yes, we can answer this question. So the right answer becomes option number mark 3. So option number C. Okay. Now, the question says the sum of three numbers A, B, and C is 0. What is the value of B? Okay, that is the question. The sum of three numbers A plus B plus C is given as 0. They're asking for what is the value of B. Can we find out the value of B using any of the statement? That is the sufficiency we need to check. Let us check the statement number 1 information. The information is A, B, and C are in AP. So A, B, and C are in AP. So clearly, when three numbers are in AP, that is arithmetic progression, the connection between them is always 2B is equal to A plus C, where A is the first number, B is the second number, and C is the third number consecutively in the AP. So 2b is equal to a plus c, that is the connection. So if we put this value 2b is equal to a plus c in our original equation, what do we get? In place of a plus c, we can write 2b. So it's going to be 2b plus b is equal to 0. That is 3b is equal to 0. So the b's value is come out to be 0. So yes, statement number 1 is sufficient enough to answer the question alone. But now we have to check for the other statement also. We have checked for the statement number second also. Let us check it. First is sufficient. Let us check second whether it can answer the question also. Value of a is twice that of c. So value of a is twice that of c. So if we put this particular expression in our original expression, what do we get? We get a is equal to twice c, 2c plus b plus c is equal to 0, which gives 3c plus b is equal to 0. But the value of c is unknown, so that's why we cannot find out the value of b. That is not possible. So statement number second is not sufficient to answer the question. So clearly the answer choice become only first statement sufficient, that is option a becomes the right answer. Now, exactly how many, the question is there and the statements are also there. We have got we have supposed to answer in the same fashion. If first alone, first option. If second alone, second option. If either of them is alone, that is third option. If both statement together necessary, that is fourth option. And if combining both the statement also we are not able to answer, then it goes for option number 5. Let us check the question. Exactly how many balls are there in Ankit's bags? That's what we are supposed to check. Let us see the statement number 1, which says there are more than 7 balls. So balls number is more than 7. But we cannot answer how many, because there can be there can be multiple number which are more than 7. So obviously question cannot be answered. If we check statement number second, they are saying there are fewer than 9 balls in his kit. So he's saying balls number is lesser than 9. Okay, so if we check statement number second alone, we cannot answer the question because there are multiple number who are lesser than 9. So, but if we combine the statements together, if we combine both the statement together, then yes, we can answer because the balls number is greater than 7 and less than 9. So there is only one number who is less than 9 and greater than 7 as well, and that is nothing but 8. So yes, we can answer how many balls are there by combining both the information together. So which option is that? That is option number 4. So we will hit as option D, which is 4. Now, the question says Jatin bought a mobile phone worth rupees 2400 on a monthly payment plan. How much money does he still owe on the mobile phone? Okay, let us check the first statement. First statement, he has made 6 payments. So first statement alone is not sufficient. If he has made 6 payments, they are not telling what is the cost of each payment, what is the price of each payment, or rather how much is the each payment. So if we are not being able to find out how much is each payment, then obviously we cannot find out how much money is still still due. So first alone is not sufficient to answer the question. Let us check the second alone. Second is saying he still owes 10 payments of rupees 150. So 10 payments of rupees 150 cost is 1500 rupees. So he still owes rupees 1500. That is the option, that is the answer, and that's what they were asking. How much money does he still owe, was asked. So yes, statement number second alone is sufficient to answer the question. In this situation, we hit the option number 2, which says statement number second is only alone is sufficient. Now, the question says, does x equal to 15? That means we have to answer it in terms of y or n, that is yes or no. Okay, we're not supposed to find out the value. Rather, we are supposed to tell them whether x is 15 or not. Okay, let us see the first statement. First statement says, average of x, y, and z is 5. So, average of x, y, and z is 5. How is average calculated? Sum of all divided by number. How many number are there? There are 3 numbers is equal to 5. This is what is the thing. So if we expand this together, this becomes x plus y plus z is equal to 5 into 3, that is 15. So it becomes 15. So x plus y plus z value is coming out to be 15. The does x equal to 15? Can we guess using this that x equal to 15? X can be 15 when the y and z value is 0, both 0. But x will not be 15 if y and z are having some different value. So clearly we are not the information provided in statement 1 is not sufficient whether x equal to 15 or not. So first alone cannot answer the question. Let us check second. Second says y equal to minus z. If we just see the information provided in second, y is equal to minus z. So by just knowing y equal to minus z, obviously we cannot answer x equal to 15 or not. So second alone is not sufficient. If we combine both the statement together, then what we can do, the first statement said x plus y plus z is equal to 15. Second said y is equal to minus z. So if we replace y as minus z, so what do we get? X minus z plus z is equal to 15. Minus z plus z get cancelled. So x value coming out to be 15. So yes, by combining both the information together, the we get sufficient information to answer the question. So that's why data in both the statement first and together is necessary. Option number D or 4 is the right answer. Now the question says, which team, the Railways or Services, scored more points and thus won the Senior National Basketball Championship 2005? Which team scored the more point? That is the question. Okay, whether it is Railways or Services. Railways or Services. Which team scored the more point? That is the question. The first statement says the Railways scored more points than Services in 3 of the 4 quarter games. So in 3 out of 4 quarter game, Railways has scored more points than Services, but this doesn't clarify that how much more. So maybe in the fourth round, where the railway. Okay, so the question says, which team, the Railways or Services, score more point and thus won the Senior National Basketball Championship in 2005? So we have to compare which team won the more matches, Railways or Services. Railways or Services. We have to compare these two. The first information says the Railways scored more points than the Services in 3 of the 4 quarters. So in the 3 out of 4 quarter part of the game, Railways scored more than the Services. So this is the data. But they just say that the railway score more, but they don't tell that how much more. So the values are not given. So maybe there is a possibility that in the fourth quarter, Services scored that many more goals, that many more goals that many more points than Railways, that they covered those quarters also where they scored lesser. So clearly, unless and until the number is specified, the first statement is not sufficient. Okay, let us check second statement. This second statement says Services team scored more points than Railways in 1 of the quarter of the game. So in 1 out of 4, Services scored more points than Railways. But again, the situation is how much more. Unless and until the points is to info points is given in the statements, we are not the information is not sufficient to answer the question that how much more. Okay, then only the comparison can be made and the whole total number of points can be counted. So clearly the information in both the statement is not sufficient to answer the question because the number of points scored are not given. So in this situation we hit option E, that is 5. Now the question is, how far is city's main hospital from Dr. Sahni's house? Okay, so let us mark somewhere. This is, let's say, hospital. This is, let's say, Dr. Sahni's house. Okay, Dr. Sahni's house. This is how we can mark. And we have to find out the distance between the hospital and the Dr. Sahni's house. Then the first information says Dr. Malik's house is 5 kilometers from Dr. Sahni's house. So Dr. Malik's house can be anywhere. Let's say Dr. Malik's house is here. So Dr. Malik's house is 5 kilometers from Dr. Sahni's house because the direction is not given. In which direction? They should tell that Dr. Malik's house is in the same direction where the hospital is and 5 kilometers away from Sahni's house. But that direction is not mentioned. So Malik's house can be anywhere. Whether it can be here, it can be in the same path as well. But that is just a chance. Okay, that it is on the same path. This is just a chance, not sure thing. So clearly data in the first statement is not sufficient to answer the question. Okay, let's see the second one. Second verse says, city's main hospital is 3 kilometers from Dr. Malik's hospital. City's main hospital is 3 kilometers from Dr. Malik's hospital. Again, the same situation is that from the Malik's hospital, the main hospital is 3 kilometers away. But from which direction, that is not clear. Okay, whether it is falling on the same path or it is falling away from if it is falling on the same path, then we can answer yes, hospital is 8 kilometers away from Sani's out. But if there it is not on the same path or it is on the different sides, maybe, then we cannot simply add these two things and answer the question because the direction is not mentioned. So clearly information provided in both the statement, even if both the statement is not sufficient to answer the question, E is the right answer, 5. Okay, now the question says What was the annual interest earned on saving account of rupees 30,000? Okay, so we have to find out the interest earned. First statement says rate of interest on the account was 51/4% annual simple interest. So clearly they have mentioned the rate value is 51/4%, and principal we already know is 30,000. Okay, principal is we already know is 30,000. Okay, 30,000 is the principal, rate value is 51/4%. So if this is mentioned, how we can annual simple interest. So formula for simple interest is principal into rate into time over 100. Time they have already said. What was the annual interest? So time means annual means 1. So clearly we can find out the interest value by putting all the values like that. Principal into rate value is 51/4 into time value is 1 over 100. So clearly by doing the calculation of this, yes, we can answer the question. We are not supposed to give the right answer, but we are supposed to just check whether the information provided is sufficient enough to answer the question or not. Yes, statement number first has got that much information which is sufficient to answer the question. So clearly statement number 1 is acceptable, that is taken. Let us say check statement number second alone. The statement number second says the account was maintained for 10 years. So if this information was only provided to us and the principal amount of 30,000, principal amount of 30K, and the account maintained for 10 years, but that doesn't clarify what is the rate of interest. Okay, so clearly if we go by statement number second information, the statement number second information is not sufficient at all. So clearly statement second is not sufficient. Statement number one alone is completely sufficient. Then obviously option A, that is 1, is the right answer. Okay, now let's go for the next one. The question says, is Sushma taller than Jatin? We have to verify whether Sushma is taller than Jatin or not. That's what we have to supposed to verify. The first statement is Sushma is taller than Bina. Sushma is taller than Bina. We can write like this. But by just by knowing this information that Sushma is taller than Bina, we cannot decide whether Sushma is taller than Jatin also. So clearly statement number one alone is not sufficient. Let us check statement number second. Bina is shorter than Jatin. So Jatin is somewhere here. Bina is shorter than Jatin. So clearly, but just by knowing the connection between Jatin and Bina, we cannot find out the connection of Sushma and Jatin. So statement number second alone is not sufficient. What if we combine both the information together? If we combine both the information together, then what is the conclusion we are getting? Sushma is taller than Bina, and Jatin is also taller than Bina. But where does Jatin lie? That is not clear. Jatin can lie here also. Then also he will be taller than Bina. And Jatin can lie here also. There also he will be taller than Bina. So clearly, who out of Sushma and Jatin is more taller, is rather taller? That is not clear from even if we combine both the information together. So clearly, option E is right. That if we combine, even if we combine that, the information is not sufficient to answer the question. Now let us go for the next one. Is a plus b plus c plus d is greater than 20? That is the question. A plus b plus c plus d is greater than 20. We are supposed to answer this. First is average of a, b, c, and d is 6. Okay. So if average, let us see, check first information. Average is sum of all divided by total number involved. So there are 4 number involved and the average is 6. So clearly we can say a plus b plus c plus d value is 6 into 4, that is 24. So the sum of all is given as 24, and we are supposed to check whether a plus b plus c plus d is greater than 20 or not. Yes, 24 is greater than 20. So yes, we can answer the question by using the information provided in statement number 1. Statement number 1 is alone sufficient. Let's check for statement number second also whether it is also sufficient. They say a equal to b equal to c equal to 6. Okay, so if a equal to b equal to c equal to 6, but they don't give the value of d. So even if we add them together, this will be 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus d, and whether this thing will be greater than a 20 or not, we are not supposed to answer this because that will be decided by the value of d, and that is missing. So clearly we are not we cannot answer the question with the information provided in alone in second. So clearly option number 1 is right, which says statement number 1 is only sufficient. Now, the question is, what is 57th number in a series of number? Okay, there is a series of number going on. They are asking for the 57th number of that series. Let's see the information provided in first one. Each number in the series is 3 more than preceding number. So if the numbers are going like this, A, B, C, D, then they are saying each number in the series is 3 more than preceding number. So there is a gap of plus 3, plus 3, plus 3, and so on like that. That means B is A plus 3 and C is B plus 3. This is how it is. This is how the pattern going on. Now, they are asking for the 57 number. So clearly we cannot answer this question because the value of the number is nowhere mentioned. There can be n number of combination where the gap can be maintained as plus 3 between the numbers, but the number has to be also provided, so that information is missing. So clearly statement 1 alone is not sufficient. Let us check for statement number second and whether it is sufficient or not. The question, this information is 10th number in the series is 29. So if we just check statement number second alone, 10th number in the series is 29. So if 10th number is 29, obviously we cannot answer what is the 57th number. Directly we cannot answer. So statement number second alone is not sufficient. What if we combine both the information together? If we combine both the information together, we are getting two things. First thing is the gap is plus 3 and the 10th number is 29. So as soon as we get to know that the gap is plus 3, then it becomes a AP, arithmetic progression. Okay, where the D value, the common difference value becomes 3. First value A is not known, but we know the 10th value. Okay, 10th value from the statement of second was 29. So we can utilize a formula for nth term of an AP. Nth term of an AP is nothing but A plus n minus 1 D. Okay, by using this we can obviously find out the A value, because let's say A, there is the first value, plus n is 10, because we are about to find out the A 10. So n value will be 10 minus 1, and D value will be the common difference that is available in the first information, that is 3. So clearly by doing this, and this value has been given as 29, A 10 has been given as 29. So using this, yes, we can find out the A's value, that is A plus 9 into 3 is equal to 29, which gives A value as 29 minus 27, that is 2. So A is given with us. D we already know is 3. So we are supposed to find out the 57th term. So 57th term will be written as A 57, and that will be written as A plus 57 minus 1 D, where we know the value of A also, we know the value of D also, that is 3. So obviously this mathematical expression can be solved and the 57th term can be easily found out. So clearly data available in both the information in both the statement together is only sufficient. So that is option number 4. Data in both statement together is necessary. So option number 4 becomes the right answer, that is D. Now, the question is, Jatin took a test consisting of 125 questions. What percent of all the question in the test did Jatin answered correctly? So what we are supposed to find out, there are 125 questions. The percentage of correct answered question along with the total question. So we are supposed to answer correct ones, number of correct questions, and over 125, and this percentage is asked. So this is how we are supposed to calculate the percentage. Correct ones over the total, that is 125 into 100%. This is what we are supposed to answer, and rather we are supposed to check whether this thing can be answered or not. So clearly it depends on the total number of correct questions. Okay, let us see. First information is he has left 20 of the question bank. So clearly if he has left 20, that means he attempted 125 minus 20, that is 105 questions. But this doesn't tell us that out of those 105 questions that he attempted, how many did he do correct. So when we can't find out how many did he do correct, so obviously this equation cannot be solved. So statement number 1 does not carry sufficient enough to answer the question, so that is a false. Let us check statement number second. Statement second says he answered 53 of the questions correctly. So the correct value is mentioned in statement number second, that is 53 divided by 125 into 100%. So clearly by solving this expression, we can find out the percentage as asked in the question. So statement number second alone is sufficient and statement number 1 was not sufficient. So clearly option number B2 is the right answer. Now let us see the next one. What percent of selling price of item X was its profit? What percent of selling price of item X was it profit? Okay. So clearly the profit has been to be calculated with the reference of selling price into 100%. This is how we are supposed to calculate the profit. Profit divided by selling price into 100%. This is how we are supposed to answer this. Now the question is, the profit was rupees 20 less than the first statement says the profit was rupees 20 less than the selling price of the item X. Okay, the profit was 20 less than the selling price. So profit value is selling price minus 20. But we are supposed to answer P by SP. So if in place of P we write SP minus 20, and in place of SP we just write SP into 100%, can we find out the percentage? Let us try to solve. Okay, SP profit value, profit was 20 less than selling price, so selling price minus 20 over selling price into 100%. Okay, so if we check this information and we are supposed to find out what percent of the selling price of the item was its profit. So if we have done this replacement, can we solve this question in terms of percentage? So clearly it becomes SP by SP is 1 minus 20 by SP into 100%. So clearly the value of selling price is not known to us, so we cannot tell the exact value of the percentage of the profit. So statement number 1 alone is not sufficient to answer the question. Let us check statement number 2 alone first. They say the cost of the item was 3 by 4 of the selling price. So the cost price was 3 by 4 of the selling price. Okay, so what will be the profit? Profit will be obviously selling price minus cost price. That is nothing but selling price minus cost price is 3 by 4 of selling price. That is nothing but, if we take selling price common, it becomes 1 minus 3 by 4, which is nothing but 1 by 4. So SP by 4. So the profit value comes out to be, SP by 4, that is selling price by 4. Now, if we put the profit value in the original equation that we are supposed to target, so profit by selling price, profit value is SP by 4 divided by selling price SP into 100%. That is what we are supposed to do. Okay, if we check this, then clearly SP and SP get cancelled. So it has to be 1 by 4 over 1. Okay, that is nothing but 25%. So clearly the answer can be done by using the information provided in statement number 2 alone. So that is the right answer, option B, that statement number 2 only carries the information to answer the question. Now the next question says, if A is a positive integer, what is the value of 75% of B by A? Okay, A is a positive integer. What is the value of 75% of? We are supposed to find out 75 by 100 into B by A. That is what we are supposed to answer, or rather we are supposed to check whether this can be answered using the information provided or not. First statement says A is equal to 2. So by just the knowledge of A equal to 2, if we put this value of A here, can we find out the 75% of B by A? No, because the value of B is still missing. So first alone is not sufficient. Let us check statement number 2. B is equal to 4A. So if in the first state, in the original expression we put B is equal to 4A, can we answer the question? Yes, we can. 75 by 100 into B is equal to 4A by A. So A and A get cancelled. It becomes 75 by 100 into 4%, and yes, it can be answered like that. Okay, so clearly statement number 2 is sufficient enough to answer the question. Statement number 2 alone itself is sufficient to answer the question. So option number B, that is 2, is the right answer. Now question number 43 says, if R and S are integers, R is greater than 1. They say R is greater than 1 and R and S are both. Okay, so the question says, is R, if R and S are integer, is R greater than 1? That's what we are supposed to find out. R is greater than 1 or not. Let us see the first one. R plus S is lesser than 1. That is the first one. R plus S is lesser than 1 or not. Okay, that is the information given. So by this information, can we answer R is greater than 1? Obviously, we cannot answer because we don't know the S value. Okay, S can be a negative number also. If S becomes a negative number, then R minus, the question will become R minus S is less than 1. Okay, R minus L will be less than 1. So that completely depends on the value of S, whether the R is going to be greater than 1 or not. Okay, so clearly statement number 1 is not sufficient to answer the question. If we see statement number 2, and we are supposed to see statement number 2 alone. Okay, they are saying R minus S is greater than 1. Okay, they are saying R minus S is greater than 1. So using this information, can we answer whether R is greater than 1 also or not? Now again, a problem that depends entirely on S. What is the value of S? Okay, if the value of S is lesser than R in terms of positive ones, then R minus S will obviously be greater than 1. But if the S value takes a negative value, then it will actually become R minus S. That will nothing will be R plus S, and that we have to check as greater than 1 or not. And if it just take positive value, it will be R minus S greater than 1 or not. Maybe the S holds the larger value than R. Then in that case, this particular term will become negative. For example, we take R as 2 and S as 3. So 2 minus 3 is greater than 1? No, it's not greater than 1. So in some cases, we are getting R value as greater than 1. In some cases, we are getting R value as lesser than 1. So clearly, the statement number 2 is not sufficient to answer whether R is greater than 1 or not. Okay, what if we combine the information? What if we combine both the information? Then what's going to happen? Okay, the first information said R plus S is less than 1. Second said R minus S is greater than 1. So even if we combine the information, then also we can see that there is an insufficiency to derive the solution, because the value of s has got a major role to play. Unless and until we get the value of s, even if we don't get the value of r, unless and until we get the value of s, we cannot find out whether r is greater than 1 or less than 1 or not. So clearly, by combining both the information also, we are not able to answer. So clearly in this situation, we hit the option 5, that is E becomes the right answer. Now, the next question says, what are the chances that a dice will come up 6 on the fifth roll? Okay, dice is a cube, okay, that is used in the game of Ludo. That is what is dice. This is how somewhat it looks like, okay, which has got numbers printed all. Either the numbers are printed on every face of the dice, or they are represented in terms of dot. For example, if it has to represent 3 here, the representation will be like this. If it has to represent 2 here, then the representation will be like this, and so on every of the face of the dice. In all 6 numbers are indicated rather. Okay, so let us see the first information. The question asked is, what is the chance that a dice will come up 6 on the fifth roll? So chances are nothing but the probability. Chances is nothing but probability, which says number of favorable outcome divided by number of total outcome. So chances of getting a 6 can be found out by 1, because there is only one 6 available on each face of a dice, divided by 6. So this is how the probability is found out. But we are supposed to answer this in the fifth roll. So clearly we'll have to see the data first. First information says it is normal. It is a normal six-sided dice which is unbiased. Unbiased means every dice is rolled honestly. Okay, there is no biasing, and always comes up with either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. That means this is a complete fair dice, and anything can come. There is no dishonesty happening. So clearly, if this is the information that the dice is completely fair, and the throwing of the dice is also completely fair, then obviously the chances of getting a 6 on any of the roll is becomes the fair one, which is clearly 1 by 6. So yes, statement number 1 is clear enough and sufficient enough to answer the question. So statement number 1 is alone sufficient. Let's check for statement number 2 also, whether there could be a case that it is also sufficient. Let us check the statement number 2. The first 4 rolls come up 6. The first 4 rolls are coming up as 6, but this doesn't tell us that whether the fifth roll will be also a 6, or this also doesn't tell us whether the dice is fair or not. This also doesn't tell us that whether the dice has been printed with all the 6 numbers or not. So clearly statement number 2 does not provide us sufficient information to answer the question. So statement number 2 alone is not sufficient. So clearly information in statement number 1 alone is sufficient. This is the option, which is option number 1. Statement 1 alone is sufficient, but statement 2 not sufficient. So we hit option called as A becomes the right answer. Now, the next question is, how old is Radha now? So we have to find out the age of Radha by the informations. First information, the first statement is the product of her age now and her age 5 years from now is 24. So let's say we have to assume the age of Radha first, then only we can apply these conditions, that age after 5 years, age before some years, and things like that. So let us assume the Radha's age, let Radha's age is x years. Let's assume like this. So then he says in the first information, the product means multiply x multiplied with product of her age now, that is x, multiplied with her age 5 years from now. So if her present age is x, what will be her age 5 years from now? Will be obviously x plus 5. They are saying the product of these two is equal to 24. So if we expand this expression, this becomes x square plus 5x is equal to 24. This 24 can come on the left hand side, which will make it x square plus 5x minus 24 is equal to 0. This is nothing but a quadratic equation. Let us try to solve this. Okay, we can solve this by any method. It can be Sridharacharya also. It can be a direct breaking into factors also. Okay, so if we break this x square plus 5x minus 24, so we can break this into direct factors, that x square plus 8x minus 3x, because 8 3s are 24, minus 24 is equal to 0. If we take x common, we are doing the factorization, the basic factorization, x into x plus 8. If we take minus 3 as common, then it again becomes x plus 8 is equal to 0, which gives us x minus 3 and x plus 8 is equal to 0. So it can be two values, x equal to 3 rather x equal to plus 3 and x equal to minus 8. So clearly the Radha's age cannot be minus 8. So Radha's age is x, that is 3. So clearly data in the statement number 1 was sufficient to answer the question. Okay. Now let us check the statement number 2. Statement number 2 says 6 years from now she will be 3 times as old as she is now. So 6 years from now, what will be her age? Present age is x. So 6 years from now her age will be x plus 6. They say 6 years from now, she will be 3 times as old as she. So is equal to 3 times x. So if we try to frame an equation out of this, then we can obviously do that. That gives us x plus 6 minus 3x is equal to 0, which gives us minus 2x plus 6 is equal to 0. Okay, which further gives us 2x is equal to 6, which gives us x equal to again 3. So the Radha's age is coming from the statement number 2 also. So clearly the Radha's age can be found out from statement number 1 also and statement number 2 also without taking the help from any of the other statement. So clearly both the statements are sufficient to answer the question alone. So that is the option C, or option number 3, which says either statement 1 alone or statement 2 alone, both can answer the question. So that is the right answer, option number C, that contains the 3 as the number. So that is the right answer.